Once upon a time, the call minutes and texts on my phone contract were metered and paid for. But then came unlimited calls and texts. Whatever I pay each month, I can call as many people as I want, chat for as long as I want. A similar scheme has just been launched for EV drivers. £30 a month for unlimited EV charging. Now, when mobile phone contracts first went unlimited, initially all the scaremongering chicken littles were out there screaming that people will abuse it by just calling anyone and everyone and it'll soon be scrapped. But no. Most people have got much better things to do than try to spend all day on a phone just to justify £8 a month on your contract. Most of us don't have that many people to talk to, nor enough things to talk about to even try that. Well, viewer Alan Robinson 2229 asks me, would I explain about the Octopus £30 a month unlimited charging offer? What is it? Who might benefit? I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On, and happy to oblige Alan. Let me start by giving you a question you absolutely must ask your utility company. Quote, I've been on my current tariff since whenever it was. Do you offer a different tariff that would have been cheaper over that exact same period? I'm going to explain this fully later on in the video, just remember it for now. Well, at the Everything Electric show recently, I interviewed Sam from Octopus who explained all the offers that Octopus have. And it's easy to see why Octopus is now recognised as the UK #1 utility company for EV drivers. Home charging, just go through that one. If I lease on the salary sacrifice, yes, for example, you offer a home charger. What does that involve?
So the free home charger, I always recommend to customers they take that if they have off-street parking. That's the only caveat. Yeah. If you do have that situation, we provide the free home charger, and as long as there's no kind of additional unusual setup or digging work that needs to be done, you get that charger and install for free.
So there's again the whole package.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific brand of charger that you always install?
We have a couple of options, but largely it's the Ohmi Wallbox Pro.
Okay, they're fairly popular.
I think depending on solar, we also have Zappi as well, but largely Ohmi's the one that most will take.
So that just raises, sorry to interrupt you, but that just raises an interesting question. So if someone has got existing home battery and PV panels, you will put in a charger.
I believe they have a choice.
Is compatible with being able to use that and the car as well.
I believe that's a slightly more expensive charger, so I believe they get, I don't know how it works exactly, but they certainly get, I think, value of the charger free. If there's any additional cost, they would have to pay.
They may have to pay extra if you get the special model that gives them everything they need, but you would then fit that
one. And if customers, so we get the free home charger, let's say they've taken the Ohmi, they get the free home charger. They also get 4,000 free miles of home charging if they switch to our newest tariff, that intelligent Octopus Go EV Saver. So it's a free home charger and 4,000 miles of charging at home. Now that's just an amount of monetary credit on the account we top up with. So it's essentially a no-brainer, really, I think, if you can take a charger at home.
One feature that we didn't talk about that was not available then, but was launched a week later, is their Subscribe and Drive Unlimited Charging. Just like mobile phones, you can select a fixed fee of £30 a month, and within that you have unlimited EV charging. But as always, the detail is in the small print.
We say on average with that 6p per kilowatt, I tend to say to customers, you're looking at, depending on the battery size of the car, of course, but you're looking at about £3 to £5 for a full charge at home, which the average EV now is doing 235 miles, which for £3 is crazy. And the average person in the UK does about, I think it's about 12 miles a day, or give or take.
So on first glance, with Sam stating that the average motorist will only charge 3 or 4 times a month, and each one will be for no more than £3 or £5, this doesn't make any sense. But Octopus does not launch something like this that makes no sense. So let's dive a little bit deeper. Now, I personally have chosen their intelligent Octopus Go tariff, specifically designed for EV drivers who want the cheapest rates overnight for charging their EVs. My price per kilowatt hour drops to just 7 pence for 6 hours overnight from 11:30 to 05:30. Now, in return, my daytime rate is slightly higher. Searching around, I could get it down to about 22 pence on a standard rate tariff. Well, mine is actually 25.7, so I'm fairly happy with that. So why did I change? Well, you need to check your bills for the details. You see, my actual use varies throughout the year, but I always use more during the day than overnight off-peak. On my latest bill and others in the summer, that ratio is about 3 to 1. That is, I spent £29 on daytime, £11 on off-peak. But in winter, it's much closer to 2 to 1. I was £25 off-peak with £51 peak. The price cap is currently set at 27 pence, and that applies to standard rate tariffs only. So if I chose a standard tariff, I would be paying far more than I do at the moment. Every unit would be at 27 pence, whereas at the moment, many of mine are at 7p and the rest are 25. For me, even if I charge my EV during the day at peak rate on my tariff, it would still be cheaper. Yeah, I do these calculations because I do not like paying more than I need to. Or checking non-standard tariffs, the flexible price trackers, fixed term and others, I could probably get that down to about 22 pence. I say around because these are often a bit of a gamble. Whatever it tracks can go up or down, so it varies, but 22 pence is a pretty good average. So why do I not choose one of these? Well, let's have a look at how much I actually pay. See, it's a simple sum. Right now I'm using 3 times as many units peak to off-peak. So 3 times 25p, 75p, plus 1 unit at 7p, that's 82p, divided by 4. I pay 21p average price per unit throughout the summer. Now in winter, I use more off-peak, 2 to 1. So 25p plus 7p is 32p, divided by 2 is 16p. So average of 20p, 20.5 in the summer, 16 in the winter, get an average of 19p. And that 19p is best tariff I can find, and I'm quite happy with it. But not everyone's the same, and this is why we have such a massive choice of tariffs. Now, if I had a large family with electric showers, washing machine and tumble dryer going constantly, computers and TV non-stop throughout the day, the equation's very different, and I could be better off on a fixed rate of 22 pence, even with an EV. I could then charge that whenever I wanted, day or night, as all my electricity would be 22 pence. Well, my family has long since moved out and there's just the two of us, and we switch washing machine and dishwasher on overnight at the cheap rate. So my tariff is the best for me. But what if I was 30 years younger with that family? I would probably be better off on a 12-month fixed rate at about 22 pence. My price per unit is now fixed at 22 pence, so to fill my EV battery as 82 kilowatt hours, 22 pence is £18. And if I did that 3 times a month, I'd have to spend £54 changing my EV. Suddenly, the equation changes. Now, a fixed £30 a month for unlimited EV charging makes sense. It would save me £24 a month, or nearly £300 a year. And this is exactly one of the targets this £30 per month might suit. But who else? Well, I could choose to take a fixed price or a tracker. If I have PV panels or a home battery or heat pump, the choice gets very much harder. They have and need specific tariffs for each of those items, plus my EV, and that might prevent me from choosing the intelligent Octopus Go. Octopus does have a range of specific tariffs, each for different scenarios: PV only, PV plus EV, PV and battery only, PV battery and EV, etc. Here the choices are far more difficult. The best one for the highest price for exporting your excess electricity back to the grid might be the worst one for charging your EV, and vice versa. So here I cannot give specific advice to anyone, as there are far too many variables. You need to make your own calculations and choose which you think offers the best overall package for you. But here you do have 2 fallbacks. First, all utility companies are legally bound to give you free and accurate tariff advice, so ask them. Whatever choice you make, ring them up after a few weeks or months and ask them, well, that simple question I started with earlier. I have chosen this tariff since whenever it was. Is there a different tariff you offer that would have meant that in that same period I would have paid less? Wow, that is such a powerful question, and they are legally bound to first of all check all their other tariffs and calculate which would have been best, and secondly tell you which, if any, would have been cheaper and by how much. No guessing, no assuming, just the cold hard facts. In a way, it might make it easier for yourself by just selecting any tariff that sounds about right and then ringing up to ask them that question a few months later. Most of them allow a switch between tariffs at no cost. But there is a second method, and that is to call in the experts. Well, for a simple choice with just an EV, this is a waste of time. Choose the best you think, ring them up, check after a few weeks, change if you need to. But if you have got PV and home battery and maybe a wind turbine, maybe a heat pump and an EV or two, well, we met a man who can make sense of it all. Ollie runs the company Energy Genie, and he is definitely someone you might want to ask. There are plenty of others like him. For years, he sold and supplied renewable energy solutions to his customers, PV panels, wind turbines, home batteries. And he found that many of them also had an EV. Many sales were to people who already had something, but wanted to add or increase the size. In those cases, he often got repeated requests to try to even get those systems talking to each other, let alone working together as a single entity in perfect harmony. Well, he eventually used his renewable energy knowledge together with his software and computing skills to produce a single package that did exactly that. It allowed multiple elements from a multitude of suppliers to not only talk to each other, but to start working together. It also offered 2 additional features. It had a learning capacity. It would try different things and see how they worked out, and then adjust the program accordingly, all automatically in the background. But it also offered the user to choose how it worked. While many simply want the best return on their investment, money, others actually wanted more environmental savings. How can I be greenest? Well, this package simply allows the users to choose via an app. Let's have a look, because this is something we get a lot of inquiries about, is I've got some solar panels, I've got an electric car, how do we get anything talking to anything and save money? So, and I gather you're the man to talk to about that.
We are the company to talk to. So the idea behind Energy Genie is we've set up a business that takes all of your different branded products within your home. So you might have a different brand of solar PV inverter, battery storage, your EV charger, heat pumps, all of that sort of thing. We integrate that into one usable platform for a customer, and then we use a very piece of smart software to run and manage it and to give you things of suggestions like what tariff is going to be best for you, and give you little suggestions of how to use your energy.
Because I notice here, sorry to interrupt, but you work with Octopus.
Yes, but we're not completely affiliated with any company.
Right.
So the idea, we're completely independent.
Right.
And we're proudly independent for that sense. But we do have obviously integrations with Octopus because they are.
You will come across
they are quite a leading company in the sector where they give you wonderful things to interact with and to build software with. So one of the proud things that we've set up is the tariff Octopus Intelligent Go, where you can dynamically set your charging times.
Right.
We can then mimic that to other devices. So when Octopus give you a nice dynamic charging schedule, whatever it may be, we can then mimic that into your home battery storage system to save your home battery then charging your car.
So Alan, complicated subject, but no, there's no need for you to have to choose between Intelligent Go and a different tariff. They serve different purposes. This subscribe and drive is intended for people who, for whatever reason, are on the standard package, standard tariff. For them, this probably makes a lot of sense. Nor is it intended if you have PV and home battery. You will already be on a different tariff. But if you are on a standard tariff, and if you use by far most of your electricity during peak hours, from say 7 a.m. to midnight, and you are with Octopus, it might well be for you. Well, I hope that helps. I'm Dave. So it seems you like the channel. Maybe you'd like to support us some more. Our YouTube membership starts at just £1.99, and that will get you access to loyalty badges, customer emoji, and members-only shorts. For a little more, you get behind-the-scenes photo updates, members-only videos, and member shout-out. And our most loyal supporters get member-only polls to help shape the channel direction. Also early access to new videos and priority reply to comments. We'll also still be running our Patreon page, thank you very much all the existing members, where we post behind the scenes content and have an active community chat. And on the occasions we do channel meetups, we'll be communicating them to our loyal supporters.